friends, it's Mrs. Ross. I wanted to show you something I'm very excited about. So I'll be sharing a lesson every day about writing, but in addition, we're going to also do some lessons with science. And we just got these little guys in the mail. They are itty bitty tiny little caterpillars. Can you see those? They're so tiny, you can barely see them. There's 6 little caterpillars in here, and they're so small that they're just so tiny you can almost not even tell that there's anything in there. So we're going to be observing these guys really closely for the next, oh gosh, many days. But I'm only going to check in with you every couple days to show you the baby caterpillars to see how they're doing, and so you can see how they're growing and changing. And I'm hoping that once during the week you'll do an observation form. The other days we'll still be doing writing, but the science observation form is a little bit different. So I wanted to show you, I'll have a form that will be available for you to download that looks kind of like this. This is a little more simplified, but if you don't have a printer and you're not able to print something, you could just do it on a blank piece of paper, just like I did. I wrote the date. Today is April 12th, and then your parent or whoever's home with you could write this for you. I observed. And remember that if you're going to observe something, it means that you're going to look closely at it. And we've talked before about how in science, when we draw an observation, it's not going to be like a sunshine with a smiley face on it, because sunshines don't really have smiley faces on them. I'm not going to draw like my little caterpillar. I'm not going to draw him with like rainbow colors all down his side and a cute little smiley face right there, because that's not really what we see when we look at him. It'd be fun to do for art sometime, but it's not what I see as a scientist. So the first thing I'm going to do after I've written my date and that I'm observing caterpillars, I'm using a gray marker so you can see it, but you'll just have a pencil, and I'm going to draw this cup. So I'm going to start by drawing kind of a rectangle, but I'm going to make it have a curved bottom so it looks like a cylinder. Remember, we've talked a lot about cylinders and what shape that is. It's a 3D shape, and that's the lid right there. And then on the side, here are those little caterpillars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So I'm just going to draw some little lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to color my lid in so you can tell that this is not open, because we don't want those caterpillars to escape. Now, if we were at school, we would have a magnifying glass like we have at Steve's container, but I don't have that here, so I'm just going to have to look closely. You guys know I have to wear my glasses when I look closely. And these little caterpillars have some teeny tiny little hairs coming off of them. I think up here they might have little legs, but it's hard to tell if those are hairs or legs when they're this tiny. So I'm just going to draw some little hairs coming out of my caterpillars. I'm guessing that some of those are legs right now, but I can't tell because it's so small. So I'm just going to draw those little teeny tiny hairs on there. And I see up at the top of the caterpillar, it looks like that might be his head that's a little bigger. It's not much bigger, but it's a little bigger. So I'm going to draw the head being a little bigger, and those little hairs, which we'll find out later, I guess, if those are legs or hairs. And there's my caterpillars. Now you'll also notice that in this container, there's this yellow stuff on the bottom. Now I did some reading to figure out what that yellow stuff was, because it did come with some instructions on there when I got my caterpillars, and this yellow stuff is the food. So all of this down here is the food that the caterpillars are going to eat. So I'm going to make that yellow down at the bottom, because that's where the food is. And then you guys know all year long we've been talking about making sure that things have good labels on them. So we're going to make sure that we have good labels on here. I think I'll use my black marker for this just so I'm sure you can see it. And we just said that this is the food, so I'm going to draw a little line coming out from that, and I'm going to say food. And just so you know that they're not going to get out, I'm going to tell you that this is a lid. Lid. And then these are the little caterpillars. I wrote the word caterpillars up there so I could label that. caterpillar. And then I'm going to show you one little trick because I want to do a zoom in on that little caterpillar. So I'm going to draw a line from the caterpillar over here, and I'm going to make this circle right here. And this means that I'm going to do like a close-up on that. And so then I can draw him even bigger with his little head. Remember, it was a little bit bigger. And then what I'm observing, these little marks, I'm not sure if they're legs or hairs, so I'm going to write hairs. And then I'm going to write or legs, because I don't know yet. I haven't been able to figure it out. I can't see that closely. I also have my trusty little tape measure here, and you might have a tape measure at home. If you have a ruler is actually going to work best, but my ruler is clear, so you couldn't see through it very well. But then you'll be able to measure how big these little caterpillars are. And I measured them on day 2, and now this is day 4 of having the caterpillars here. So if I start at this end of mine, it goes about, oh goodness, it's a little over ½ inch now, so maybe about 3/4 of an inch. And each of these little lines on the measuring tape will tell you how big this caterpillar is. So it's about 3/4 of an inch today, and I could even write that. To write 3/4, I write a 3 and a dash and a 4, and I could say 3/4 inch long. And that tells me some good information about what I noticed today and how big my caterpillar was on April 12th. So I'm really excited to see what these little guys do and what we start to notice about them and how big they get and what kind of a butterfly they turn into, because we know caterpillars are going to turn into butterflies or maybe moths, but we'll see what these guys are. So we'll see you later. I first took pictures of the caterpillars when they were 2 days old. They had just been shipped to us, and this is what they looked like. I only had a penny at first to measure it by, so I decided to use the penny, and you can see that it's about ½ penny long. And then I went to look for a ruler or a tape measure or something. My ruler was clear, so it made it really hard to see the marks on there. So I decided I'd use a tape measure, which we had in the garage, and you can see on there the start point at the left side where the silver starts. That is the part of the tape measure that shows a 0. That's where it all begins. It's really hard to see the tape measure with the silver piece that's right there, but you can see the little lines on it, and the little line that the tiny little caterpillar goes to is the ½ inch mark. So this, on day 2, it was about ½ inch long, just for one of those little caterpillars. And you might have noticed that earlier on in the lesson that I did with the observation form, that was day 4 that I did an observation, and it was about 3/4 of an inch long. So it had grown just a little bit in just those first 2 days. So I'll be doing an update every 2 days, and you might remember that we know how to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 20, hop like a bunny. So we're going to be doing it every 2 days. I'll give you a little update. You don't need to write every day or every time I do the update, and you don't need to do a picture if you don't want to, but just at least try once a week to do an observation right along with me, something that's similar to the one that I've done, and probably about once a week I'll be doing an observation as well so that you can see what my model would look like. So hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to see what these turn into. Bye.